Hey there, welcome to Nerdmazing, this corner of YouTube where I showcase action figures and collectibles. So happy you're here, as I got this great action figure of General Grievous from the Star Wars Black Series line from Hasbro. Awesome! Keep watching to the end of this episode so you can see what Nerdmazing collectible I'll be showcasing next time. So, let's check out the packaging box artwork first with this General Grievous figure, followed by the action figure. Here on Nerdmazing. The Kate Grievous figure clearly stands out on the right-hand side behind the clear plastic film. You can see two sets of green and blue lightsabers that is on his left, and near the bottom right corner is his blaster. There's nothing on the top but pure darkness. The left side in all red, there is a black D at the top, General Grievous name underneath that, followed by the figure product number of E2989. Well, I'm not certain here, but I think that the D means that it's a deluxe action figure, and the one is that this is the first General Grievous figure released in this line. Well, if you know for certain about the D1 here, feel free to drop some education down in the comments below for the Nerdmazing community. The back of the box has logos we've seen so far, with the exception of the Disney logo. There is a brief character description for Grievous in 4 different languages. You get a much fuller version of the stylized General Grievous cross-hatching illustration that was on the front side, which is next to the character description. Then there's the toy warnings and info at the bottom thirds. You get a little bit of the clear plastic wraparound here for a brief side view, but mainly it's a black background with extremely large dark gray text of Grievous running vertically from top to bottom, if you can see it. The main highlight here is the figure name in red. So let's go ahead and unbox this General Grievous Deluxe Star Wars Black Series action figure now, as I really want to equip him with all those lightsabers. So here's the General Grievous action figure ready to unbox. So let's go ahead and do that. So right here at the top, you can tell it has a little bit of tape, as you can see. Hopefully I can get that in the camera. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that open, like so. Do the tabs real quickly, and then pull out the plastic. And as you can see, he is form-fitted in a plastic shell, getting his accessories, the lightsabers, the action figure, and his blasters right down there. So, give me 1 second to get this figure ready to showcase to you. Here I have the General Grievous action figure ready to showcase, but I'm going to go ahead and remove his cape first to make it easy to see the figure and the articulation. But let me go ahead and do that. Remove that cape. And as you can see, the cape is stitched in there. You see the stitching real quick. Hopefully that picks up. So it's not Velcro, so it'll stay together. And the cape on the inside has these 4 little pockets which hold the lightsaber. In fact, the actual lightsaber handle, they just pop off real easily, slide in like so. Let me put that cape to the side and set this lightsaber back. Now let's go ahead and check out the action figure. Here is the front, side, back, other side, as well as a view from the top, and a view from the bottom. And as you can see, there are no display holes for stand use on his feet. So it's going to be very interesting posing this figure. And also to note, there are a lot of thin pieces to this figure, so be very careful when moving the parts around. You don't want to use too much force and break anything. Now let's go ahead and check out the articulation from the head, starting all the way to the feet, or down to the feet, I should say. The head, a nice 360 spin. There is tilt from side to side, and you can tell his neck moves with him as well, and a little bit separate actually too. So tilting down, or forward I should say, very nice. And tilting back, there's a little bit of restriction at the neck, and very little at the head as well, and that just kind of gets because of the armor piece right there. The arms do a nice T motion, and at the shoulder, they spin a little tight. They can spin around like so, and they do spin a full rotation here as well. Now there's something interesting with these arms. Again, Grievous has 4 arms, but they fuse together, as you can see. They fuse here at the hands, and they fuse here, right just at the below the shoulder. But you can pop them out like so, and it's got a little peg here that goes into the slot in there, if you can see it. And then the hands have a little peg and the peg hole, so you can fuse them back together.
Now they do articulate very nicely. There's a lot of good movement. So with these arms, you can kind of spread them out and really position them in any way you kind of want them. Now, there's no rotation at the arms here, but there is rotation at the elbow area, like so. Hands, no moving inward, no outward. They're very stationary. Now, the elbows are they have a lot of good articulation. They can go all the way in on both sides, as you can see. So really nicely done there. But again, very thin. Be very careful when positioning them. You don't want to put too much force and break anything. So let me just go ahead and move these arms up a little bit so we can check out other articulation on the figure. Let's check out the torso. There is some spin, some rotation, but he does get hindered due to his back armor right here and the torso armor right there throughout the abdomen. I can't say that. The ab area. Let's just be simple. All right, let's see if he moves forward, tilts forward. No real tilting there. All right, let's check out the legs. There's a little bit of a split, not much as you can tell. There is restriction due to the armor. There is his hip area right here. I'll show you. They kind of splay out a little bit on either sides, but not much. He does have great articulation at the legs moving forward. Can almost he can literally kick his head. He's a great high kicker in this one. But going backwards, he's very limited in the sense to a point. That's going to be for both. Actually, kind of about right around there where he kind of hits the armor right here on his legs. But it's not horrible. So now let's see. His knee articulation. They go in really nicely, as you can tell. Very well. But there is no rotation there or rotation at the calf area. But right there at the shin, his legs, or I guess the shin that connects to his feet, they do go out, as you can see. Really nice, very different. So the feet, they spin around very nicely. And they do point up some and point down some. So that's all the articulation that I know about on this figure. And he's really nice. You can do a lot with him. But it's going to be very interesting trying to pose him without the display stand, because I'm afraid he won't hold up very well. So I'm gonna have to do a few little tricks on that one. So let's go ahead and check out your accessories. Now I'm just gonna pull out two of the lightsabers real quick, and we can check out the handles, which are really nicely done, as you can see. They put a lot of detail on that. So now check out the blaster. You can see the one side, hopefully it gets into focus. There it goes. And the other side. There's just a little bit of difference, not much. But both sides do not look the same. So there is some nuances. Well, let's go ahead and check out this figure scale.
This General Grievous Deluxe action figure is stated to be 6 inches tall or 15.24 centimeters. Now, taking my own measurements, he does come in at about 6.5 inches tall when standing him straight up. Here is Grievous next to other action figures to give you a sense of scale. So let's go ahead and place this General Grievous Star Wars The Black Series action figure on the spinner now so we can check out more details on this feared and ruthless Jedi Hunter. I am loving this action figure overall. But do note again that you want to be careful posing this figure and do not use too much force in moving the limbs, as you do not want to break anything, especially the thin arms. The figure has a tendency to potentially fall over, and since there isn't a way to use a display stand with it to give it more stability, you may have to come up with other options to secure it with certain poses. One of the first things I notice is all the battle damage he has with scuff marks on his face mask and cybernetic body, especially the chest and knee areas with grime and gouges. The face sculpt is out of this world with his iconic helmet amazingly done. It's awesome that you can see his yellow eyes peering out. And those cybernetic wires in his neck area are just stunning. This is actually my first four-arm figure to own, and I have to say it's pretty ingenious how Hasbro designed them to articulate as four arms, and most impressively, when you merge them together for a two-arm Grievous with that elbow bend. The torso is finely detailed, not only with the battle damage mentioned earlier, but with all the cybernetic components that form his abdominal area and shoot up towards his chest that are tucked away behind armor plating. Outside of the iconic four-arm dueling lightsaber limbs, I have to say the look of General Grievous's legs are just as iconic to this villain as a whole. With all these amazing components being displayed in his thigh all the way down to his clawed feet, I kinda wish the claws were able to articulate, as it would have been awesome to grasp a Jedi figure for some epic battle posing. The backside of the figure is, I think, as equally impressive with all the amounts of details that was captured in the sculpt of this action figure. I always wonder why General Grievous wore a cloak, and I discovered two fun facts about this that go beyond a way for him to hold his trophy lightsabers. It's actually a cloak from his homeworld Kalish, and Grievous didn't like how his cybernetic body looked, so he covered it as much as possible with his cloak. Though I do wish Hasbro would have added some wires to the cloak to make it posable and more dynamic, as I do feel it is a bit cumbersome when you're posing this action figure and trying to keep it upright. Consider joining the Nerdmazing community by subscribing to the channel if you're enjoying this episode. Also, give that like button a click and leave your comments below for me to respond back to you on, as this really helps out the channel. Now, I'm sure most folks out there already know who General Grievous is, or at least have heard of him. He was a separatist cyborg military strategist and Jedi killer during the Clone Wars, a featured villain in the prequel movies and the animated Clone Wars series. Eventually, Grievous was slain by General Kenobi in the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith movie with a blaster shot to the chest with Grievous's own blaster gun. But let's talk about some details you may not know about General Grievous. Prior to becoming the super cybernetic iconic villain we all know, he was first a Kalish warrior. His real name is Kaiman Jai Shala. Pardon any mispronunciation here. And he comes from the race of a reptilian-like humanoids called the Kalish. He grew up in a world that was at constant war with the Yamri, a technologically sentient insectoid race. As Kaiman matured, he became an exceptional fighter and eventually a ruthless warlord with a bloody reputation among the Kalish people and his enemies due to his lack of mercy. He would even collect the weapons of his defeated enemies as trophies for his kills. It was this merciless trait and feared reputation that Kaiman would don the name Grievous. What I recently learned is why Grievous hated the Jedi and the Republic so much. It was during the war between the Kalish and the Yamri, which is pre-Clone Wars. The Kalish had driven out the Yamri from their world. In doing so, the Yamri went to the Republic and the Jedi to help them out and intervene, which they did. This intervention resulted in hundreds and thousands of Kalish dying, mainly from starvation. He also hated the Jedi because they were almost impossible to beat in combat for him and his troops due to the Jedi's use of the Force. Now, there's a ton of history and backstory that I would love to get into with this General Grievous, and if I get another General Grievous collectible, I can share more, as there are hours upon hours of info on him. I am so happy I got this General Grievous action figure. He's going to be a great addition for my personal Star Wars figure collection by adding such an iconic villain to my set. Now, this General Grievous action figure, as far as I know, is still easily obtainable through a variety of online retailers. Are you ready to see the next showcase collectible here at Nerdmazing? Well, are you? It's going to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle and Universal Monster crossover of Leonardo as the Hunchback from NECA. Ready to check out more Star Wars action figures and collectibles like these? Or maybe this is more your style. Well, thanks for joining me here at Nerdmazing, and to all my Nerdmazing fans out there, be passionate in what you do, share your passion with others, and be kind to one another, as this world can always use more goodness in it. This is Adam with Nerdmazing, and I'll see you next time.